a sensational terror plot that has been busted in the United States. The FBI Director Kash Patel has said that there is major news. In fact, he mentioned a Pakistani citizen named Mohammad Shahzeb Khan, who was residing in Canada, who is now being extradited to the United States on charges of attempting to provide material support to ISIS and attempting to commit acts of terrorism. In fact, the FBI director has given details saying Khan had planned to travel from Canada to New York and carry out a mass shooting in support of ISIS at a Jewish center in Brooklyn. My colleague Srinjoy Chaudhary is on the broadcast with us with the details. And Srinjoy, this is a big terror plot that was being planned. The Pakistani national is now being brought to the United States. What are the details that the investigations have found on the terror plot that was being hatched?
Well, for all this trouble between America and Canada, this is one moment where Canada and America work together very well. Police from both countries work together and they've arrested Mohammad Khan. Now, Mohammad Khan had everything in place. He belonged to ISIS. He had a target, which was a Jewish house in Brooklyn in New York. He had the weapon, which was an automatic rifle. He had a plan, and he had the mental capability to carry out such a bloody attack. He clearly was indoctrinated, though he's only about 20 years old, and he would have committed one of the most heinous of crimes, which is attack a Jewish house in Chabad in Brooklyn. And he felt that there were so many Jews in New York, it would be such an easy target. It's a great relief that he has been arrested, and surely he will be tried and sentenced if he is found guilty. But the point is, a lot of bloodshed would have happened if he had not been arrested. He had, as I said, a plan. He had a target, and he had a weapon.
Okay, all right. In fact, let's take our viewers through the details that have been revealed in this tweet by the FBI Director Kash Patel, who has actually detailed how this entire terror plot had been put in place. Here's what he goes on to say. He says, major news earlier this afternoon, Mohammad Shahzeb Khan, a Pakistani citizen residing in Canada, was extradited to the United States on charges of attempting to provide material support to ISIS and attempting to commit acts of terrorism. Then he goes on to say that in the fall of last year, Khan allegedly planned to travel from Canada to New York and carry out a mass shooting in support of ISIS at a Jewish center in Brooklyn. Remember, several Jewish centers have been the target of terrorists over the last few months. It has been a concern in the United States. The US president has also spoken about it. In this tweet, the FBI director goes on to say Khan allegedly planned his attack to occur on the 7th of October, the one-year anniversary of the Hamas terrorist attack in Israel. Thankfully, the great work of FBI teams and our partners exposed those plans and shut them down immediately. In fact, he's gone on to say that Canada has arrested him on the 4th of September in 2024. He has now arrived in the United States and will face American justice. Let's go across to Bhavtosh Singh, also joining us on the broadcast with the details. And Bhavtosh, in fact, details also suggest that there was a big plan that was being hatched, so much so that he believed that it was going to be an attack bigger than 9/11. What are the details?
Yes, Pratibha. In fact, it was a very ghoulish and a macabre plan that was being hatched by Mohammad Shahbaz. In fact, he has been charged with abetting and aiding a foreign terrorist organization, which is also a grade 1 grade 1 offense in US. Now, if we go by what the Department of Justice has said in its press statement, they have said that he was in touch with an undercover agent. Now, to the undercover agent, in the transcripts that have been now made public by the Department of Justice, he in fact said that he wants to procure a hunting knife. Now, he wanted to procure a big hunting knife, maybe a machete, and then he wanted to slit throats of Jews who are in fact residing in Brooklyn and also in New York. And he wanted to film all this act and also record this act. Now, this was his plan which was in fact has now been put on record by the Department of Justice. Now, Mohammed Shahzeb Khan was living in Canada. He wanted to come to New York, as you rightly said that this was his plan to coincide with the first and second anniversary of Hamas attack on 7th of October. Remember, he was distributing flyers on 7th of November. At that point of time, he came into the radar of FBI and Canadian agencies, and since then he was in touch with various individuals on social media, encrypted social media apps, and then later on there were FBI agents who got in touch with him, and he told them that he wanted to procure an automatic rifle. Then various chats happened, and in these chats, he in fact revealed his sinister plot, including buying a automatic rifle and also a knife. And with that knife, he wanted to in fact decapitate and also sever the head of various Jewish people. And then finally, he was arrested by the Canadian authorities and then extradited back to US.
Okay, all right, Bhavtosh, are there any more details on whether there were more individuals who were involved in this? You also mentioned that he was also trying to procure AR-style rifles as well as ammunition. So are the officials looking at a larger plot that was at play with more people being involved?
Pratibha, in most of these ISIS-style attack, there are lone wolves and there are individuals who are part of a bigger and a more organized network. As far as this individual is concerned, Mohammed Shahzeb Khan, who is a Pakistani national who was staying as a refugee in Canada. He appears to be a lone wolf, but his macabre, sinister, diabolical plan was hashed by him. He, in fact, got completely radicalized by two events. One was the terror attack in Israel. That was on 7th of October 2023. Then he started distributing flyers in Canada in support of Hamas. And at that point of time, he came in the radar of various agencies, and then subsequently he wanted to carry out an attack on the anniversary of this ghoulish terror attack.
Okay, all right. Stay with us, Bhavtosh and Srinjoy. Just a moment. We have Ambassador Anil Trigunyat also on the broadcast with us. Thank you for joining us, Ambassador. A Pakistani national being held and now being brought to the United States for plotting an attack. Is this going to be a wake-up call for the U.S. administration?
I hope so. I mean, these are the symptoms of their foreign policy, which all these countries have been following. The Western countries have mastered this art of propping up these kind of people or supporting them directly or indirectly. They have continued to believe in this my terrorist versus your terrorist or good terrorist, bad terrorist. And this is what is going to happen in the countries also. So it is not something that is something new. I mean, we already know about it, and the Americans know it but ignored it. I mean, you have seen in recent times how the U.S. state has gone soft on Pakistan, despite Pahalgam, despite other terrorist incidents. You see, wherever you look at terrorism, you will find the eventual route going back to Pakistan. So I hope they wake up and they take care of it, because this is a global problem. And if they are going to take the selective kind of an approach, then obviously, I mean, everybody will be hurt in the bargain, and those who are vigilant will be able to save themselves.
Yes, and you know, Pakistan has been the breeding ground for terror for a long time now, and India has been talking about it. In fact, very recently as well, India has been speaking about it. You mentioned that there have been concerns over the United States going soft on Pakistan, but this should come as a wake-up call. And you know, the details are extremely startling. What the Pakistani national, had been planning is an attack that was bigger than 9/11. That's how he had been looking at this attack that he was planning in New York.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think that the Americans have been able to safeguard themselves for quite some time. But then there are also crazy people. We have seen what has happened in Colorado. There are all kinds of problems in the country itself today, what you're looking at California. So I think that USA has its own problems, but then they are going to add these problems if they don't take action against such people ab initio. I'm not talking that once they're caught, or some action is taken in a judicial form, but this has to be taken, and the source of it needs to be identified, must be, and everybody, the whole world knows from where they are coming. And Pakistan, the Americans will have to look at it in a very different way. I mean, or even for that matter, the Canadians. I mean, they are no saints. We have seen what they've been doing with the likes of Niger and others in different Western countries. We have seen they have found a rather comfortable refuge. And that is something that needs to be called out, and this needs to be seen by these countries, because it's not going to only create attacks elsewhere, but this is going to bite them back as well.
Absolutely. And Hillary Clinton herself had also spoken about it when she said that you can't have snakes in your background and expect them only to bite your neighbors. And that's what the United States should learn. Thank you for joining us. We have Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar also on the broadcast with us. Thank you for joining us, Ambassador. The United States, while India has been speaking about how terror is breeding in Pakistan time and again, now the United States also waking up to the same. The FBI director has spoken of a Pakistani national who was planning an attack bigger than 9/11 on U.S. soil.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's not the United States waking up. The United States has known it all along. Mr. Trump has known it all along. You would recall that when he was in his first term, the National Security Strategy of 2017, it identified Pakistan as the source of terrorism. Your viewers and listeners would recall that Trump's own tweet of 1st January 2018, where he said we have been giving $33 billion of assistance coalition, to deal with terror, and Pakistan has been providing safe haven to the same terrorists that we have wanted, that we have been demanding, and he threatened Pakistan that this will not continue, this will not go on. Not even more recently, what I'm talking about, 2017, 2018 in his first term. But even more recently, he handed over, when Prime Minister Modi was there in February 2025, just 2 months ago, he handed over Sahabur Rana, who's a, Pakistani national of Canadian citizenship, Pakistani origin. And in the joint declaration, it was mentioned that Pakistan will take action against 26/11 attacks, they will take action against Jaish and Lashkar. All these names were mentioned there. So it is not as if the United States is oblivious of the truth or of the facts. They know it very well. But there are, as there have been reports, that there are short-term considerations that motivate Mr. Trump to take an entirely 180 degrees different perspective and different view. When he talks about, the great leader of Pakistan, great products that they make and all that sort of things. These are short-term considerations, and that is what has been the pain of the United States right from the beginning. They cannot see beyond their nose, and unless they are willing, they are able to deal with all these challenges in an institutional manner, in terms of dealing with all the structures that exist. Just catching one or two people, well, it's good, it's nice, they will take action against them. But, to deal with the whole issue of terror, it has to be done in the manner in which India is doing it, and asking the whole world to come together, because it is not only India's fight. It is the world's fight.
Absolutely. It's not India's fight. It is the world's fight, because every single person will be affected by terror, something that India has been talking about. Thank you for joining us with those details. The United States must understand that it is playing with fire, and this may be a terror plot that may have been busted by the FBI, but unless it is uprooted from its very roots in Pakistan, the threat will remain, and that's the concern that US should know about. Thank you for joining us with those details.